Good evening, everyone, and happy Easter. Welcome to our regularly scheduled commission meeting, April 12th, 2023. The time is now 7:05. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Present.
Mayor Taylor,
Here.
and just for the record, Commissioner Bass will not be in attendance due to illness.
Okay. May we stand for our invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance?
Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you, God, for all of your many blessings. Continue, God, to watch over this city. Continue to unite us together with its unity, there is strength. In your name we do pray. Amen.
I pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so Madam Clerk, I see we have a couple presentations from our board and from our police department. The first one is an accommodation for Officer Danny Lopez. And we also are celebrating that this week is National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. So I ask my colleagues, along with our police chief and staff, to join us on the floor as we celebrate our officers. I misspoke. This commendation is not for an officer, but our chief will present it.
So with your permission, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to read out the commendation I wrote for Mr. Lopez. So Opa-locka, good evening. This is Mr. Danny Lopez. On April 7th, 2023, Mr. Lopez became aware that the Opa-locka Police Department was looking for a wanted subject at the Cordoba Courts Apartments. He diligently monitored the cameras that were installed at the apartment complex for security reasons for the past year. He began to conscientiously monitor the movements of the subject and noticed that he had changed his clothes and came outside. He immediately contacted Opa-locka Detective St. Aim and related this critical information. Once the Opa-locka Police Department received this vital information, a police operation was planned and organized. Members of the Opa-locka Police Department and Miami-Dade converged on the property as Mr. Lopez continued to monitor the cameras and provide us with real-time intelligence regarding the subject's movements. The suspect was notified that police were in the courtyard, and he went into a second floor apartment on the south building. We made contact with the apartment owner, and she let us in to look for the subject. After approximately 10 minutes, we exited without the subject. Mr. Lopez immediately got on the telephone, called Detective St. Ames, and advised that the subject had to still be in the apartment. We asked the owner again if we could go back inside. She said, of course. We went inside, we brought our canine, and without incident, the canine officer took the suspect into custody, who was wanted for attempted murder, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and various assorted charges. Mr. Lopez, due to your keen observation and perseverance, a violent subject was arrested and charged with attempted murder. The citizens of Opa-locka are safer today because of you. You are commended for a job well done.
Our next presentation is also coming from our police department to celebrate our dispatchers here in the city of Opa-locka.
So, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioner Kelly, as you all know, dispatchers are a police officer's lifeline. They provide us with incredibly important information and they let us know what's going on. Without dispatchers, this city and any other city would be so unsafe. So it's with great pleasure that because of Telecommunications Week, I come to you tonight to present three of our dispatchers and communication specialists with certainly a well-deserved commendation. One of our dispatchers could not get here tonight because of the weather, and a second dispatcher is under the weather. So I do bring up Ms. Hernandez. In appreciation for your outstanding support of law enforcement operations for the city of Opa-locka, Opa-locka Police Department, on behalf of the city manager, city staff, police department, and this commission, we thank you for a job well done.
So again, thank you, Mr. Lopez, for your hard work and dedication to the city of Opa-locka and to our dispatchers. We honor you for a job well done and all of the work. Like our chief said, you are the lifeline to the police department. So we salute you on tonight for being just that. Madam Clerk, we're going to the approval of our consent agenda. Do we have any pulls, deferrals, deletions from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am.
we have a request from Commissioner Bass to defer item 13.2 to the regular commission meeting of April 26th.
Okay, any pulls? Other deferrals or deletions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I want to pull number 1. And I want to also pull number 4 for discussion. Thank you.
Okay. 1 and 4. All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor,
Yes,
motion passes 3-0.
okay. And we are at our add-ons. I think we have. the
Mr.
approval-
Mayor,
Sorry, the approval, say it again?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
So we do have an add-on item, however, 4/5 of the vote is needed to amend the agenda. At this time, you only have 3 members present.
Okay,
Not yet.
all right, so let's call for motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor,
Yes,
motion passes 3-0.
all righty. We're gonna approve the minutes from February 27, 2023. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor,
Yes,
motion passes 3-0.
okay. Approval of minutes from the regular commission meeting, March 22nd, 2023. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the special commission meetings from March 30th, 2023?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes 3-0.
all righty. Madam Clerk, do we have any District 1 or District 2 reports?
No, Mr. Mayor, not at this time.
All right, no, and we have no public presentations. Any public presentations?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we're getting ready to move into our citizens forum. Madam Clerk, can you please read into record the rules for participation in our citizens forum?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. City of Opa-locka Commission meetings are held in person at the Opa-locka Municipal Complex City Commission Chambers, 780 Fisherman Street, third floor, Opa-locka, Florida. Members of the public wishing to address the commission may do so in person or virtually. Those persons wishing to participate virtually should register prior to the scheduled meeting time on the city's website at www.opalockafl.gov. When speaking before the commission, please make sure to give your full name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute time limit for public comments. Please adhere to the decorum policy, which is part of the commission meeting agenda. City commission meetings are aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka. And Mr. Mayor, at this time, we do have virtual public comments from former Commissioner Chris Davis.
Okay, so we're gonna open up citizens forum. Citizens forum is open. We'll start with our virtual comments. Commissioner Davis, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. I'm here today to share my support for the agenda item regarding participatory budgeting. If adopted, this may very well be the exact tool our city needs to help shift civic participation and increase transparency regarding public expenditures. I strongly believe through my research that this ordinance, if adopted, will help strengthen the relationship between government and its people, while also creating a sustainable long-term process in which the community can engage and be directly involved as decision makers in the social and economic revitalization of our city. As it stands, this will be the first time something like this has been done in our region, which will send a strong message that our current administration is thinking outside the box and seeking solutions from the community to help collectively with its government move the needle forward. The $500,000 allocation for this process, in my opinion, is a mere drop in the bucket, considering the current $50 million budget threshold and $17 million reflected in our city's current reserves. I believe this ordinance and financial allocation is enough to achieve projects that are tangible and much needed and will add to the long-term success of this initiative. As the Financial Emergency Board stated, when are we going to do more for our residents? Well, we can start by putting them in the seat by directly involving them in the budget process, which I think is the right thing to do since our residents pay one of the highest tax rate in our state. Remember, taxation cannot be exclusive of representation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else in the audience? You can join the podium to my left. Our citizens forum is open. Hearing none, citizens forum is closed. 1 second.
Mr. Mayor? Commissioner Williams is now present, so
Okay.
if you wanted to go back.
That's what we
to-
was
Oh,
just.
okay.
So can I get a motion to reopen the agenda to add on the item given to us by the manager? Can I get a motion? I believe the city hall item.
Yes,
Historic City Hall.
Historic
Historic
City
City Hall.
Hall.
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor. Okay, so motion fails for lack of, say it again?
I thought it was a second one.
No, there was no second.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, so moved by, this is to reopen the agenda, to reopen the agenda. So moved by Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Kelly. So the first motion is to reopen the agenda. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, and this motion is to add on this item.
Would, Ms. Mayor,
Go ahead.
will you like me to read it into the
Please.
record? So this item would be included as 14-1, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, accepting the proposal of Diamante Construction and Development, Inc. for the rehabilitation of historic City Hall pursuant to RFP number 23-021-5100, and further authorizing the interim city manager to enter into an agreement with Diamante Construction and Development, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $1,452,330, providing for adoption of representations, providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by the interim city manager, and again, it will be included as item 14-1 on the agenda.
All right. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Can I get a motion to set tonight's agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, so we're going down to our consent agenda items 13-1. Madam Clerk. Madam Attorney, I'm sorry.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving issuance of a request for proposals, RFP. Attached here too is Exhibit A for a qualified consultant to conduct a feasibility study for the installation of metered parking on Alabama Avenue within the city, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the interim city manager.
Can I get a
Move for
mo-
discussion.
move for discussion? Can I get a second? Second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you all are aware, it has been the focus of this administration to address some of the issues regarding parking and vehicles and cleanup around the street of Alibaba. We are exploring a number of options, and the first option out the door that we want to look at is to provide a parking meter service along Alibaba so that our code enforcement can regulate and stop vehicles from parking in the center of the mid lane and parking along the sides during unauthorized times. This will be the first step that this administration would like to take to clean up that street Alibaba and bring it into the city as we are cleaning up the rest.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. This is open up for discussion. Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me begin by saying some of the stuff that's on Alabama can already be cleaned up if code enforcement just go down there and cite those folks parking in the middle of the street. That doesn't require approving this item. But I do support the item, and as I said to the manager, I wanted to amend it, ask my colleagues to amend it, since it's a request for a proposal to not only look at Alabama, but also to look around the State Building and also on 22nd Avenue from Rutland to Burlington, east and the west side. Since it's a request for proposal to include those areas as well in this discussion, so that we can have an idea what it would cost if we go that route with metered parking. As was indicated, there's a challenge with parking, and in those two areas around this area and 22nd Avenue area, along with Alabama and probably some others, there are challenges. So since we're going to go out for a RFP, I think it would be prudent to add those two and really ought to look at it for the whole city. But since it's just constructed for this, I told the manager I was going to propose to my colleagues to add on these two areas. So I'd like to make that amendment to the item at the appropriate time after discussion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anyone else for discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Commissioner Kelly, to make the amendment to add on those items. In that amendment, if we could during the RFP, not have one lump proposal, but I would like to see it broken up. What each section, the cost, so that we know how to tackle those particular areas in terms of what we can afford or cannot afford, if that's a thing. But I do think you are correct, and I do agree with that amendment.
Anyone else? Commissioner Kelly, what was those addresses again?
The areas, Mr. Mayor, was around the State Building, right here. And also 22nd Avenue from Rutland to down to Burlington, east and west on both sides. And I do like that, dear Commissioner Williams point out. So, Madam Attorney, we can incorporate that language as a part of it. I would like to see that too, since it is a RFP and hasn't went out. We can tweak it now. This would be the time to do it since a feasibility study. So I would like to include that part that my colleague mentioned as well. But those are the locations.
Okay, and I too like what Commissioner Williams said about breaking it up. So, Madam Attorney, that's the amendment to that resolution. So if you can read it into record.
The Mayor, what it calls for in terms of the, it has an Exhibit A. And so within Exhibit A is where the management will put in what Commissioner Kelly said with respect to 22nd Avenue from Rutland to Burlington on both the east and west sides. The thing that would be added here in the, well, that also within the Exhibit A would be Commissioner Williams's request, which would be to ensure that each area is broken down in terms of the cost. So that's really a part of the exhibit that they would be making a change to. And as it stands, the resolution itself could remain the same. So
Okay.
they would just be making a change to the exhibit.
I think we got a little distracted by our four-legged officer that just walked in the back. But yes, ma'am. We got a little throw it off over here, but she's in Cujo, but we're good. All right, so can I get a motion to move the item?
Move it.
Moves, can I get a second
Second is on amendment.
on the amendment?
Second,
Okay, so can we vote on the amendment, Madam Clerk, and then we'll vote on the item?
Commissioner Kelly,
yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes on the amendment.
all right, and we already have a motion and a second for the item, so Madam Clerk will.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
thank you. Next item on the agenda, Madam Attorney, 13-4.
13-4, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the interim city manager to take all necessary steps to purchase trash bins and recycling receptacles to be permanently placed in public areas throughout the city in observation of Earth Day, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Taylor.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. And this is my item. The item is just simply we've been talking about beautification for a while in the city of Opa-locka. So this item is just asking our city manager to purchase and place recycling and trash receptacles throughout of the city in public facing areas to encourage our residents to pick up after themselves and throw the trash in the trash can. And I know Commissioner Williams has been a big advocate for Earth Day So that's one of the reasons why I proffered this item. Because of your Earth Day situation. And I said, this would be a really awesome time for us to do this. So do we have any discussion on this item? I know Commissioner Kelly had a question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support the item, but I want to interject a couple of things. It appears we're starting to piecemeal the beautification program. We started, which I supported. We got arborists coming. We restructured staff for beautification. Now we're doing trash recycles and all that's good, but I don't want to get us in a position where we're piecemealing our whole beautification initiative. Because to me, that's also marketing, getting citizens involved. So it appears we're kind of beginning to piecemeal. So I'm just saying to my colleagues, hopefully at some point, we're going to have a whole discussion. I know we were going to meet with management individually, but I still think we need a entire program and not really piecemeal, which seems to be occurring. The question I had really goes to the third whereas, first of all, because we're leaving the amount to the sponsor, to the manager to come up with what he's going to spend. And I think it has a $10,000 budget and the location. So since your item, did you proffer certain places or are you just leaving up to management to place where they think it needs to go?
We didn't, what we discussed was public facing areas. So the parks, City Hall, the main thoroughfare, like Scheherazade, those areas where you have heavy foot traffic. And as far as the dollar amount is concerned, the manager did proffer a dollar amount, but I don't think it's in here.
But
But
$10,000, I think, in the legislation I see.
I think that's at the in the backup document, correct? The cover memo? Is that what you're looking at, Commissioner Kelly? Yeah, a budget of $10,000 will be established, but I left it up to him just in case it's more or less. So
I'm just
I'm not opposed to if you want to increase or decrease.
no, I don't want to, I'm just wondering where the number came up and how the locations, because you mentioned several, obviously that are good, but I'm thinking of like Coachman Gardens, for example, which is a place where folks go that has trash well, had them there, that probably needs to have some there as well. And again, some of our bus shelters or whatever areas probably need those enhancements. Another thing that goes back to our whole beautification initiative, what would be on those receptacles? Something, some signage or whatever. You're going to leave that to management to come up with. The marketing PR firm going to do that. So it's just not a receptacle, but something like you see in other places that the garbage goes here, the glass goes here, those kind of things, just to make sure. And that's why I said I'm kind of concerned that we don't start piecemealing the whole beautification. I know Earth Day is coming up. And so since you have a item here to get it started, I'm going to support it. But I really want to say to my colleagues at some point, we need to look at the whole picture of beautification so that we can really go forward. Because when I saw this, having what we've done a few weeks ago, I'm ready to bring a resolution to say to the manager, put some mulch down on our main thoroughfares, put some flowers down on our main avenues, because that's needed as a part, spruce up and paint some of our sidewalk areas around the city like we did in front of City Hall. And I know that's a part of our overall beautification effort, but I don't want to start piecemealing it because I think we need to do that as a holistic and a cohesive effort. So I'm hoping that we're going to do that going forward. I'm going to support the item, but I wanted to make sure that's put on the record. Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Well then, with that being said, Mr. Manager, before we make a decision on the style of the receptacles and what will be on the receptacles, can you reach out to the commission to get a consensus and also provide us with the locations that you are thinking about putting them? And then the commission, I'm asking that if you see places that you feel that needs more attention than others, send that list to Madam Clerk or directly to the city manager so that this can be an inclusive item. Is that Mr. Manager?
Absolutely.
Is that okay, Commissioner Kelly? Okay. All right. Commissioner Williams would like to co-sponsor this item. I accept. Is that what you,
Yeah, I didn't know if I would say it on record.
you want to say it on record?
No, I was thinking
Okay.
that, Madam Clerk.
All right, so, Madam Clerk, roll call. Oh, if there is no more discussion, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, no more discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
okay. Moving on to, new items, 14-1. Madam Attorney, can you read it into record, please?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, accepting the proposal of Diamante Construction and Development, Inc. for the rehabilitation of historic City Hall pursuant to RFP number 23-02151100, and further authorizing the interim city manager to enter into an agreement with Diamante Construction and Development, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $1,452,330, providing for adoption of representations, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the interim city manager.
Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, can you please present the item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we're very excited to actually bring this item forward, as it has been a goal of this administration to rehabilitate and reopen historic City Hall. We're bringing this item as an add-on item so that we can make all of our best efforts to meet our October deadline. So we have gone through our RFP process. The finalists were two vendors. The vendor was selected was actually the Diamante construction vendor that actually did the renovation of historic City Hall. It was the only vendor that had experience with renovating historic structures. Several years ago, they actually renovated the dome and repaired the dome of historic City Hall itself. So they have experience and expertise. We're looking forward to you authorizing us to move forward with this vendor so we can rehabilitate historic City Hall and have it open this year.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions or concerns for Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor,
Madam Commissioner Williams?
so, I want to be the first one to jump out because I know Commissioner Kelly has a few questions.
What was that?
She
No,
know you
no.
got questions.
Of course I do, right?
I know.
You don't know, of course I do.
I figured it was. I think so we know several years ago, we were down this road, right? We had a construction company, this thing happened with us. And then we, I don't know what the word is, got duped. I don't know that this, we assumed that company was going to do the work. And I'm just wondering, since, like, how do we know? What's the fail safe that this company is going to do the same thing and the same thing not happen to us? Especially since, like, this is an add-on and this is new and we haven't been able to digest it properly. Like, how do we know as a commission we're going to pass this? And what was the vetting process? What was, like, I guess I would like more, because I don't want to be here with our kids up here at 10 years from now, 20 years from now, saying, what do we do and why do we pass this item and nothing happened?
Thank you. Through the mayor to Commissioner Williams. The last time that a vendor ceased to work on historic City Hall was because the city of Opa-locka failed to pay them. We have fully budgeted for this item and we are prepared to mobilize. We went through an extensive RFP process, reaching out to vendors and construction company. This is a vendor that we just worked with, as I stated before. They just completed the new commissioning chambers that we're in, and they were above schedule on a very, very tight deadline, and they got it done. So that renders me being able to render payment and ensure that the city of Opa-locka will make good on its bills. Also gives me confidence that they will be able to move forward.
So, and thank you for the answer. And I guess I meant in terms of construction, right? So I know what other projects? I mean, that's a huge undertaking. So is that in the book? Can you show me where we vetted them and they've taken on? Because although that payment did stop, but there's still some very there's some not so great things that I'm wordless today that happened in that building, even if it stopped, it looked as if the construction never even started. So I'm just confused, like, and I know what you're saying, the money stopped, so the construction stopped, but even if the construction started, it doesn't even, it, so how do we know that we have the right company for the job?
As I stated before, they have actually worked on Historic City Hall. They repaired the dome. We do a RFP process, was the public competitive bidding process, which we're bound by through our procurement policy. And they were the only construction vendor that had experience with rehabilitation of historic structures. If you look in your booklet, to the RFP process, you'll see photos there where they redid the dome for Historic City Hall when it required repair. The page says Historic City Hall roof repair 2019 through 2021. A third level dome before repair and the after leak repair, the fourth level dome before repair and the fourth level dome after repair. We also have the second level dome that they repaired on the next page. Also under Historic City Hall roof repair 2019 through 2021. There you'll see the before and after pictures for the second level dome repair for our Historic City Hall. And finally, they did a tower opening before and after to provide some closure and some security to our Historic City Hall building. Can your sister find out?
So, I'm sorry, through the mayor, such a large undertaking, it would have been great if we had a presentation or something more like it. Or given like a little bit more time to go through it, but I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else for discussion on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor?
if I'm not mistaken, this is I think I'm a little familiar with this company because they worked on City Hall, even though we weren't paying them back when we first were in the midst of the whole financial emergency thing. They were coming to commission meeting asking for their money that we didn't have, but they were still coming to work every day and still working on City Hall. And as a resident attending those state meetings, we were feeling bad, but thanking him for still coming to see to it that he was leaving at the time our building in the safest place to not get any worse at that time. I think eventually we did pay them, but it was a really, really long time. And for him to come to work every day, him and his group, and we weren't paying them, that does say a lot to me back then and even now. So we're gonna pray all is well. Thank you.
To the mayor, to the vice mayor. I'd also like to add that it was very challenging for us to get a construction company to agree to take this project on because it was in the newspapers, it was on the news. And so when construction vendors would consider putting in a bid on this and find out that, oh, this project got stalled because the city of Opa-locka was unable to pay, they would back out of the competitive bidding process. So we were very grateful to have the vendors that we received because of the history of non-payment on this project.
Yeah. Anything else? All right. Anyone else on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. First of all, anytime I'm going to look at something that's $1.5 million, I need more than 30 minutes. That's number one. I'm very familiar with what the vice mayor is saying, with the folks coming to work and they hadn't gotten paid. And I also can understand Commissioner Williams' point because they were working, but in my opinion, there's still things they weren't doing. They've done this building. We've got a track record with them. But I want to go back to some of the comments made because when I look at the package, and I'm trying to read fast, and y'all know I try to read everything. Both of these companies that submitted have experience in historic buildings. From what I'm seeing from the evaluation forms from the staff, both of them have historic renovation, construction experience. So either one of them could work. I understand the need, to have someone maybe familiar with the project, but I'm also trying to look at the scope of work of what would be done. And because we just really got this, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what's going to be done. I tried to get a quick snapshot of it: interior walls, ceiling finishings, restroom renovation, replacement of some doors, electrical, but I can't wrap my eyes and mind around all of that in a few minutes. And so that's the first challenge I have. The second one, I recognize we're doing this under grants. So let me ask this question, Mr. Manager, since we're on a October deadline, is that based on the grants that we received that are going to run out?
No,
To
sir.
the manager?
No, sir.
No? Okay, well, the October deadline is based on what then?
The construction schedule that's provided by the vendor.
The construction schedule provided by the vendor?
Yes.
Oh, they're just saying they can have October. So then what was the rush for it being an add-on as opposed to bring to the regular meeting where we could really have a chance to digest? Because I'm trying to get a sense, knowing historic City Hall the way I do, changing fixtures, changing doors, I'm trying to get a picture of what that would look like in a couple of minutes. So it's an add-on item. So I thought it was tied to some time constraints that we needed to do based on funding, because $1 million is coming out of grants and the rest is coming out of city budget. And the other thing is this vendor is about 250,000 or so higher than the other bid, which I also wanted to digest a little bit more. So, Mr. Mayor, from my position, I know we might want to get it done by October, but my position is not tied to a funding of losing the money. I'd like to take another 2 weeks, bring it back so I can digest and have questions on exactly what is being proposed in the scope of service, and any questions I might have regarding those landscaping improvements at the courtyards, the fountain, historic finishes, all those things, what that would look like as a part of this finished product, since it is for quite a bit of money and it's not under time constraints of grant possibilities. That's just my opinion. And so the items before us, I only brought it back and supported because I wanted to hear the discussion before I made a final decision, because otherwise I would just not voted for it. It wouldn't got on the agenda in the first place, but I want to at least hear if it was tied to any funding challenges. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any other discussion? Well,
Mr. Mayor, hearing the will of the commission, we will defer this item.
okay. All right, no problem. So this item 14.1 is deferred until
The next meeting.
The next meeting.
Mr. Mayor.
Mhm.
And even in the deferment, we need some more teeth, some meat and potatoes to this item. And I'm concerned that it came to us as an add-on and we just got it and it's, 300, I'm sorry, it's a lot of pages, and that should not be something that we get used to doing. So I would just like for us to not do that or do this again as an add-on item with this heavy, especially if it's not an emergency. Thank you.
Oh.
Mr. Mayor, it's my understanding that the clerk submitted this item to the commission some time ago.
Say that again?
It's my understanding that the clerk submitted this item to the commission some time ago. We only missed the submission deadline by a single day to be on the regular item.
Okay. Mr.
When was
Manager,
that?
we're gonna move on.
Mr. Mayor, you don't, no, you don't throw it out there and then think it's gonna move on. Well, could you say that again, Mr. Manager?
Give me just a second and I'll pull up the email, Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you.
Say again.
Mr. Manager, she sent that email today at 12:05.
We submitted that item to the city attorney on April 4th.
The commission received it at 12, and I don't like throwing people up under the bus.
Okay, so.
Let's move on.
No, and then.
Now it's late. And when the items come
And
to
I
us
did not
late,
want
we're
us to go
supposed
into
to let
this.
it go into the next agenda or let it go as an add-on. So the item, I don't know when it was submitted to the city clerk, but when it came to us late and beyond the time for the agenda. Thank you.
One day after the deadline. as
Okay,
I stated.
thank you, Commissioner Kelly. We good?
Pardon me?
You-
You know, you don't throw stuff out there and think I'm not gonna.
No, we're trying to. I didn't wanna
As you
go
said,
into that.
Mr. Mayor, from the
It wasn't
commission
thrown.
standpoint,
It's a statement.
we got it at 12:05 today. And like one of my colleagues, like Commissioner Williams said, an item of this magnitude, we all want City Hall redone. We want to refurbish, we want it. It's a part of our downtown, whatever. But if it's not tied to funding and we got to rush it, there's no to rush it. So defer it to the next regular meeting. And that gives us plenty of time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problems. This item has been deferred. Item 16A1, Madam Attorney.
16A1, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending the annual adopted general proprietary and special revenue funds budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2022 and ending September 30th, 2023. Adjusting revenues and expenditures as reflected in Exhibit A, providing for expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the city manager to take certain actions, providing for appropriation of all budgets and expenditures, providing for fees consistent with appropriations and amendment, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the interim city manager.
Mr. Manager, can you introduce this item?
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. These are 9 items, 5 projects funded by the ARPA. One is a reduction of the expenditures by $225,225. And the other 3 additional projects as an expense of $346,671. Those 3 projects are the tree planting, which is grant funded at $125,000. The fire station design, which is a carryover item, which we're also seeking grants for, which is an expense of $95,000, and the continuation of the Commerce District stormwater drainage of $140,896. One line, a division of 1 account into 3 accounts for tracking purposes has been executed for this budget amendment.
Okay, can I get a motion to move the item?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Williams. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing for this item is open. Hearing none, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Do we have any discussion on this item? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor,
Yes,
motion passes 4-0 first reading.
okay. Madam Attorney, 16A2.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, establishing a citizens participatory budgeting process and allocating $500,000 for community improvement projects, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for severability, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Taylor.
Okay, and now introduce this item. This item is similar to what we did with the ARPA, allowing the citizens to say what they would like to see in the city of Opa-locka and the city allocating funds to promote those projects. So it gives the residents the opportunity to participate in the budget process here in the city of Opa-locka, where we hear what they would like to see in their city, and we allocate and push those funds towards those projects. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams. Moved by Commissioner Williams. Okay, so you're gonna
I can second for discussion.
second for discussion. Perfect. All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. I think it come down.
Yeah.
ADA in here.
Oh, that's right.
Felton Brown, 1151 Jan Avenue. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and City Commissioners. As a member of this community, I'm here to express my support for citizens participatory budgeting. We are the great city of Opa-locka, but I believe we can be the greater city of Opa-locka if we do two things. One, welcome the opportunity for citizens participatory budgeting. And two, grant access to the opportunity so that we can manifest the betterment and the benefits of having the citizens participatory budget in our community. What does that mean to our community? That means coming together, the citizens and the government, to make improvements in our community for the betterment of our community. Participatory budgeting has been proven all over the world. You know, citizens have been coming together with their community, making improvements and thriving. And I just got one thing to have you guys, to leave you guys with. As you're considering this opportunity and granting this opportunity to our community, just ask yourself one question. What if the missing key is doing it together? Thank you.
While I'm up here, Joy Brown, 1151 Jan Avenue. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, and residents. Please bear with me because public speaking is not my best, but I know the importance of having my voice heard. Prior to becoming a resident of Opa-locka, I was also a resident of Overtown and Liberty City. Cities who over the past few years have taken steps forward in making improvements to their communities, such as neighborhood beautification, city cleanup, historical restoration and preservations, projects that have impacted their city's development and growth. And although I could still ride down those streets I once lived on, much of what I left behind has done the same thing I did, move forward. Now, being an Opa-locka resident, I like to see us move forward also, not just by way of city initiative, but also with community involvement. And we have that opportunity to do so through participatory budgeting, which I stand strongly in favor of. The great thing about participatory budgeting is that it allows for us as residents to be more involved with government. It sits both government and residents at the same meeting of the minds table where we get to voice through vote as to what projects those budgeted funds will greenlight in unity as a community. Through the process of participatory budgeting, the relationship between government and resident is strengthened, resulting in equitable decisions being made to achieve sustainable outcomes for our city, our home. In the words of James Baldwin, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. So let us unite as a community and be a part of the change that makes our city, our home, Opa-locka greater. Thank you.
Chris Roberts, 640 Dunette Avenue. Under no circumstances that this board should be established. When we have a community relations, recreation and activity board already, they just don't have the $500,000 in funding for it. It's the same board, so why are we bringing in another board when we just established that board on the last commission meeting? It's the same board. It's gonna do the same thing. You're gonna go out in the community. You're gonna run things. One board runs out of the Park and Recreation Department, and the other board runs from the city of Opa-locka. Why are we establishing that board? If you give us the funding to do it, we could do the same thing. The same opinions that they have now, they would have the same opinions then. They could come to the meeting, we could establish the same thing. We don't need another chairperson. We don't need another co-chairperson. We don't need, it's the same board. If you look at all the guidelines for both boards, it's the same thing. Why are we trying to establish another board and pay $500,000 to the community to do whatever they want to do with it? That's not how life works. This is why the city of Opa-locka is in the shape that we are in, because we go through the same cycle all over again, doing the same negative things that we always do. CRA supposed to have a zoning for funding. Use your funding. If you want to do some improvement, do some fund, use your funding for some of the residents that we have. We have Ingram Park over there. We got $500,000 to put into a program. We got 2 buildings at Ingram Park need to be demolished. They red infested. The children, you can't even use the park. We're gonna put trailers out there, and the 2 buildings are still there. Come on, we talk about the city of Opa-locka. When do it change? And the same people that's in the same area looking for the same thing. Come on, y'all. This is the city of Opa-locka.
I'll sit down. I'm Merrick Williams, 1211 Perry Street, and I am a new resident here. And I've had the fortunate time to meet with a few of the commissioners here, as well as the vice mayor, and I've gone to meet them Monday. And I'm here in 1000% support of participatory budgeting. I've had a chance to look at that Ingram Park, and it looks a mess. So I don't know what has been going on with whatever you're talking about and fixing up, but it needs to be readdressed. Sorry, let's kind of do this. So as someone new here, I'm excited to be a part of a civic group that's engaging. I chose Opa-locka. I've lived in many places, New York City, I don't know, Los Angeles and Atlanta, but I chose this place because I wanted to be a part of a community that's engaged, that's involved, that doesn't use some outdated board that hasn't fixed up the issues that are there. I saw an old jet ski. I saw an old boat there. What I would like to do as part of participatory budgeting is gather up a cleanup committee to go in, maybe buy a dumpster with that money, throw all that stuff in there so we can clean up that park and not look a mess. It looks a mess. How do we fix it? And the way you do it is you engage with the community. You engage with people, the police officers, the neighbors, as I have since I've been here. Like I said, I'm new. I've only been here a few months. I bought a house that needs totally gutting and restoring. And I came up to this commission when that came up to tell you about the issues that I was engaging with. And fortunately, you were very helpful. So was the city manager, very helpful with me trying to get into this house. But again, I'm in support of it. It's engaged me into being more actively involved in this community, talking to my neighbors and others so that we can decide how we fix it up. I'm not saying that, you know, other organizations can't do it, but they haven't because it looks a mess. All right. Thanks. My time.
Good evening, Audrey Dominguez, 1147 Jan Avenue. I read through this ordinance and I'm happy that we're including the residents to doing this process. However, why only $500,000? I'd like to be more informed about all the millions of dollars that have been spent and be involved in that to know where the money's going to. Okay, now I know that it's a lot of money and I'd probably like to see my paint program go through if this is supposed to be going through the residents to decide. I might want that, but I like to see who is going to be selected. I've already heard through the streets, they already have a board and a co-chair and all that. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure
what to expect. I want to see. When I see it, I believe it. Let me just put it that way. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. My name is Mikhail Solomon, 1011 Sherrar Avenue. I am a longstanding member of South Florida. I grew up in Carroll City, but spent a lot of my time and my youth in Opa-locka, going to Opa-locka Hialeah. And I worked here for 4 years with Opa-locka CDC with their arts program. So I'm deeply invested in the economic development of this community, in its beautification and into ensuring that the people here in Opa-locka have an improved quality of life. I'm also a new homeowner here. I just purchased my property in 2020, and it just like the previous speaker, Merrick, my house will require a lot of rehab to ensure that it is a standing pillar and a beautiful home here as well. And I think that I'm in approval of this participatory budget that will be overseen by our citizens and by you. And I think we can collectively work together to ensure that our community has all the things that it needs to ensure the quality of life for Opa-locka citizens. So I hope you'll seriously give this some consideration, and I look forward to hopefully having some insight and sharing my opinions with all of you as you approve this participatory budget. I hope it passes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Clerk, and other city personnel. My name is Kimberly Downer, and I currently reside at 945 Arabia Avenue here in Opa-locka. I want to step up and speak in agreement or improvement of the participatory budgeting set forward. Participatory budgeting has the ability to empower residents to collectively decide on what exactly they want happening here in this community. They live here. They should have a choice. They should have a voice. Living in the city, you want to have a say on what exactly is going to affect you on a day-to-day basis. To see change implemented in their community would be amazing, even if it's through small improvement projects, different beautification projects, and also even larger ones like with the City Hall. When you give citizens a chance to show what exactly they want in the community, they will step forward and take that chance. By voting in favor of participatory budgeting, you will be giving citizens and your residents a voice. So please do enjoy your night.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. First, I want to start off by saying thank you to all of you, because we started participatory budgeting. So as the mayor mentioned, we started this with the ARPA funds, and I want to say thank you to the manager, because what you did was you allowed the community to come out and voice what they wanted to see done in our community. And I think what we are interested in doing is taking that to the next step. We want to codify what is ultimately what people call the people's budgeting. So I want to start off by saying that participatory budgeting is a process that is happening all around the world. It has been for a really long time. It happens all around the United States. And so I will say that it's different from the Community Relations Board. And I want to say the Community Relations Board is incredibly important. And I think you all should absolutely have the resources that you need to do the things that you would like to do. But participatory budgeting is completely different. It is a process that allows the residents of this city, they would get to advocate for the change that they want to see and have the opportunity to vote. They would have the opportunity to actually create the process, and every single resident, if they want, they get to come up, they get to talk about the change that they want to see in this community, and they get to vote. So I know some of you are asking why $500,000, and I heard the comment, that's a lot of money. So research shows that this process can die if it is not sufficiently funded. Imagine if you all were to give us
I don't know, $20. What can we do with $20? And obviously I'm exaggerating, but $500,000 is an opportunity to do 2 to 3 projects. Nationwide, the average is $640,000 for people who are for municipalities that are funding participatory budgeting. In 2021 alone, that average was $1.7 million per municipality because participatory budgeting is growing. So this is happening all around the world, as I mentioned. I want to add one more thing. Research also shows that participatory budgeting can fail when government doesn't fully empower its residents. So I ask that you vote in support of the people's budget. I ask that you vote in support of empowering your residents. I ask that you vote in support of doing what you can to build a more engaged electorate. I ask that you vote in support of participatory budgeting. Thank you.
Good evening, Janie Russell, 1210 Perry Street, Opa-locka, Florida. Opa-locka resident for over 30 years. And I've about seen and heard it all in the city. And when this concept of participatory budgeting was brought to my attention, I said, wow, I didn't know anything about it. So what I did was I did what most of us do, is inform ourselves what it's all about and how can it help my city? Because anyone that knows me knows that this is not a game for me, that we are really serious about making a difference in the life of our city and our children. We want our children, our grandchildren to do what? To grow up in a city that they could thrive in. They could go off to college, come back home and be proud to be an Opa-lockan. And I encourage my children and my grandchildren to do that all the time, every day. You are from Opa-locka, be proud of it. So participatory budgeting during the ARPA funds, when we had that process, I came that Saturday. I was so impressed of the people that was there and the people that were participating and how the people was encouraged. They were excited that they were having a say in where their money is going. This is not money that's going to be put in a budget for a few people to make a decision. This is a part of the process that the city manager and the commission does on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. This is not a process that you just pull out of the hat somewhere and you're going to give people $500,000. I'm a taxpayer. I pay the high taxes. I own property. I pay all my taxes, all of them that I'm told to pay in the city of Opa-locka. I don't just walk around. If you say pay it, I pay it. So I think that this is a great process. I think this is something that will bring enlightenment to our community. And each one of you that sit on the commission, one thing I hear you say all the time, and I agree with you 100%, when you get citizens involved, you got you're going to make yourself a great city, because the citizens being involved, they may never come to a commission meeting. They may never call you on the phone to ask your opinion, but they'll talk to their neighbor. They'll talk to the person down the street. So that's what participatory budgeting also does. Not just deal with money, just deal with community as a whole and make us, as the young lady say, one. And I hope that you all, if you don't see it right now, that you see learn more about it and then come back with a favorable response. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open. Seeing no more, public hearing is closed. Do we have any, Vice Mayor, open it up for discussion.
Mr. Mayor. Right now, Ms. Russell said, maybe if you don't see it right now, you would see it later. Right now, I don't see it. And I'm going to sound as nice as I can. I don't want to offend anyone. However, for years, I came to the podium when it was something that we needed, and I asked and I talked and I did it over and over and over. And with a lot of things that we were asking for, eventually the commission heard us and they provided those things for us. Now, for all of us residents, and I appreciate and love all of my residents, but what I'm having a hard time with right now is when we have commission meeting, where's all these residents that care so and want to be? We had a CRA meeting. The CRA have over $4 million. Where are you? We've had every meeting. You know how many residents are in the meeting? None. None. And it's money there, and it's for our community. It's for us to better our community, but there's nobody in the meetings to come up and say, hey, we want the CRA to do this. Maybe we can do this with CRA dollars. Maybe like there's I struggle with that. I'm struggling with that. Even at commission meetings, it's the same thing. We do have our community relations board, and you said it's not the same, but that too, not just the meeting that they just started. When I was over the community relations board years ago, we're having meetings, there's no one there. And the community relations board worked out of park and recreation budget, which is like very small. And if they have the opportunity, that board can be a really great board, but there's no money in that board. There's no budget there to help to do anything with, because as we all know, park budget is very small. But if parks budget was bigger and the community relation board is working out of that budget, there's a whole lot of stuff that can be done. You know, there's a lot of things that can be done. I don't see it right now. I am so sorry, but I don't see it right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams?
So I know for me, I joined this board to see a progressive Opa-locka, to see something different. And if anyone knows me, they know that I ran on change. And if we don't start to see something different, we're going to lock ourselves and pigeonhole ourselves into the same rotating cycle that Opa-locka has been in. And I don't want to offend anyone, but generally it's the same people. And generally it's the same people on the same boards. And so if we don't, again, look at things globally, if we don't see things in a progressive way, this is something that works, and it has worked in other cities. It is our duty to go get the research and find out what this initiative is about. We can't compare one board. We've never compared one board to another board before. There are plenty of issues with our parks. And we can be here all night talking about that. But I will stand in agreement that we do need to think outside of the box, because again, if we stay stagnant, we will never, ever, ever change. However, I will say that what does give me pause is the $500,000. That does give me pause. I would like to see it lowered a little bit, because what I did not hear are what those initiatives will be. So that's $500,000. So what's an example, or what could be an example of those initiatives? So because I don't know, and that part I don't know, I have no problem having that, having a participatory budget, and then we can come back and amend because it is a budgeted item, but that $500,000 does give me a little pause. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I love the passion of the community. I love when residents come forward and express their passion. I am always excited for it. But anybody knows me, I look at the details and the specifics. And like I told some of the folks that met with me on this item, it's not participatory budgeting. I'm fully aware of that. I've seen it worked in other places. Of course, I do my own due diligence, but the way the legislation is laid out, I can't support it because there's too many loopholes. When you talk about $500,000, what I would have liked to see is probably more of a discussion in a workshop with those who are advocating for it with the commission to come up with something a little more concrete and tangible. Because when I see $500,000, and I love both of those residents that mentioned Ingham Park, because that's near to my heart. If we got $500,000, it ought to be straight at Ingham Park. I got to propose, I got to delay our cleanup on Saturday because the manager said to me through email that it's flooding over there. I'm fully aware of all the challenges of the boats on Wilmington and all that good stuff. So we had $503,000. Trust me, I'd be saying put it in Ingham Park at one time. I heard the analogy of the ARPA funds and how that worked out. I wasn't here, but I heard both sides of it. I heard positive and I heard folks didn't know that we're actually voting on $1 million worth of projects at that particular workshop. It happened. And so I have no problem with it going forward because residents were engaged. Here's my challenge with this item, Mr. Mayor, since it's your sponsorship. I'm concerned because we don't know at this moment, based on budget concerns and trends, to allocate $500,000 of really next year's funding already. I'd like to hope, I'd like to believe, and I probably could ask the manager through Mr. Anthony to come up here and they will probably tell us projected, we're going to get so many dollars in ad valorem and this, that, and the other. But the reality is we don't know what the final dollars are going to be. So that gives me concern to budget future dollars now for a budget that's going to be done in 24. Now, if this discussion was happening as a part of the budget process for the upcoming or next fiscal year, that's a different dialogue. But if you're telling me to allocate $500,000 right now, not knowing the future, first of all, I tell you, let's get that pay plan so the employees can get a pay raise, all of them. That's the first thing I tell you. Then I say we need to make sure we can pay the officers more so we'll have them staying and not leaving. If we had $500,000 just going to allocate in advance. But what also gives me great concern is the process of how this is laid out. There'll be 5 individuals to assist in the design and implementation of this process with the following parameters. Each commission member would nominate a community member to serve. It says actively live within the city. I don't really know what that means, actively, and be registered to vote in the city. But then it also says that it will lead and implement the process, set the rules, hold public workshops, review proposals with city officials, and conduct a public voting process. To me now, you're taking a process that the voters have put in the hands of elected officials who they voted for and put in the hands of a select few of 5 citizens. And again, has nothing to do with anybody spoke. Everybody was very articulate on both sides. I've heard the passion, but now you're actually putting that in the hands of citizens as opposed to the elected officials. And then how will it be staffed? That's not stated here. It's not stated how it's going to be staffed. Whoever those 5 folks going to need some money because they got to have staff. They got to do a whole lot of different things, whole workshops. They got to solicit project proposals. That's going to require some legal input. All of that needs to be factored in prior to, and that is not factored into the item because the $500,000 is really just allocated for the community improvement projects. So to me, there has to be also a budget considered for them to do what they need to do. Again, when you follow those cities and places all over the country from Brazil and everywhere else that have done this, there's a staff component that's with it. And so that's not here. And I don't want anybody to leave saying, oh, Commissioner Kelly is against the community. Everybody know I love the community. If I'm out there doing farm share and everything, and everybody up here is doing that, we love the community. I love the passion. But I don't think the time is right now for the reasons I'm laying out, because it's going to require more. As was stated earlier, you can't do something with $20. No, you need money. But you're also going to have staff. Somebody's got to do that legwork. You're going to need legal representation. And I'm also not very comfortable, as I said earlier, with allocating dollars now for a future budget that we don't know what it's going to need. We don't know. We don't know what the future holds. And I love the fact we got folks just bought their home. That means property values are going up and taxes, we get more money collected, but we don't know what the future holds in the next 4 or 5 months. So to allocate that kind of money now for the future, I don't think it's something we should be doing. What I would suggest, and again, it's just my opinion, I would suggest, Mr. Mayor, for this item, that all those individuals who are passionate about it, that we come together and you, number one, using her words, flush out some of these challenges of how would be structured, the funding, the staffing, the legal side of it, make sure there's a cost amount attached, and then come back and make that a part of the budget process. Because we know if we're taking $500,000 of next year's 2024 budget, that's $500,000 less that's going somewhere else. And we know there's only so many dollars to go around. So that's my suggestion. But let me ask you a couple other questions before we close. To the manager, Mr. Mayor, because if we were to vote now, we're really saying to you where you're going to get it from as the manager. Where would $500,000 come from that we will approve now based on what you're seeing in 2024? Mr. Mayor.
Through the mayor to Commissioner Kelly, we would have to put together a proposal that included a budget line item for $500,000, which of course, out of the funds that we get, we would be shifting allocations away from other priorities. So if we got $19 million and we were going to put $17 million to roads and streets and water and sewer and funding, and $2 million to other projects such as beautification. Perhaps we would look at reducing beautification to 1.5 and then moving $500,000 to this project.
Mayor, not to put words in your mouth, you really not sure where you would do it. You just have to find it if the commission authorized it.
That is correct.
Okay, I'm not going to support the item, Mr. Mayor. I think that what I would suggest is flush it out a little bit more, come back, make it a part of the budget process. I do, like I said, understand, and I like the engagement. I like citizens' involvement and to be a part of the process. But as this is laid out here, there are too many holes in it, too many unanswered questions to actually allocate $500,000 at this moment inside of a request that's for next year's fiscal budget. And I'd like to be a part of that workshop or setting with the community that would look at this and come up with that analysis and come up with those numbers so that it can be a realistic effort and be a part of the budget going forward. Because like I said, I've seen it. I've done my due diligence. It does work in some areas when done properly, but also going to require a allocation of funding that's continuous because you're going to have projects ongoing. That's thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Thank you. So hearing the sentiments of my colleagues, Madam Attorney, we're gonna defer the item, and then Commissioner Kelly, I like that idea. We'll set a workshop where we can come and use Commissioner Williams' words, flesh it out and bucket it just a little bit more, so you can get your questions answered. So Madam Attorney, we'll defer this item. Okay?
Yes, sir.
right.
So the motion would be deferring it pending to the meeting after a workshop on the item.
Yes,
Okay.
we need to vote on a deferral.
Well, technically under Robert's rules you would, but
Okay, so can I get,
We haven't done it.
once it's on the agenda, that's Robert's rules, but sometimes you all do it, sometimes you don't always, but I'm just telling you,
No,
that's
I don't
that's
mind.
Robert's rules, so you
but-
would vote to a time.
we had
You
that
will vote
discussion.
on a time certain. The issues come up before and I said the same thing, but you will vote on a time certain for the deferral. So it would be the next meeting, or it might be in a month, or it might be in 6 months, or,
Okay,
you know,
so,
and I'm trying to kind of make it loose to say.
no, I got it. So
Yeah.
I'll defer the item until after we do a workshop. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
that's good.
can I get a motion for deferral?
Move it. Second.
Second, do we need to vote on a deferral as well, Madam Attorney?
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk?
I'm sorry, who made the motion in the second?
I
And
made
then
second.
Williams.
Okay. Commissioner Williams,
Yes, on the deferral.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion to defer passes 4-0.
okay. Moving into our city manager's report. Mr. Manager, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move quickly through items 1 and 2, which is the rental and mortgage assistance update and the ARPA expenditure update, because both of those were planned to go hand in hand. We had anticipated being able to cut checks. However, the state has requested some additional review of our process, and we're providing those answers to them. However, I'm very excited to move forward with item number 3, which is a presentation by our Opa-locka Police Department K-9 unit. This has been a unit that we've been working on for some time. I'm very excited to have a new officer join our force. We now have a 2-man force, and as you said, our 4-legged officers, that would be a 4-man force.
You about to bring Cujo up here?
Cujo coming.
I am definitely afraid of dogs. I'm gonna go outside.
Just for, so we actually have 2 dogs. One is actually is a bite dog, and one dog actually is a sniff dog who detects items, firearms, and different things like that. So I'm presenting to you all that dog, who is also a feature of this month's calendar, police department calendar. So I would turn the floor over to
We
Chief
see
Scott
him, Mr.
Israel.
Manager. We see him. It's okay. We see him. We got it. Vice Mayor, she want to pedal. You are not.
I believe Vice Mayor's always had some experience with this particular.
I'm sorry.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor.
Sure, G. I
Mr.
don't think is your
Mayor,
mic on.
testing.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Kelly. I'm here today, as the city manager said, it's a great day for Opa-locka to have a standalone K-9 unit and to increase our K-9 by 1. Sergeant Pelias, who is just a rising star with the police department, selected Officer Riveron. Officer Riveron has just graduated. Officer Riveron just graduated the K-9 Academy. He went through with members of 5 other agencies. Officer Riveron rose to the top of his class, and he is now a certified FDLE K-9 officer, and he's already on the streets of Opa-locka.
Congratulations and welcome to the city of Opa-locka.
And
Awesome.
about an hour ago, when I read that commendation for Mr. Lopez, Officer Riveron and his K-9 partner went into the apartment after police could not find the suspect, they found the suspect and he took the suspect into custody without using any force whatsoever. So sometimes it's a misnomer that a police apprehension dog will bite a subject. They actually bite subjects less than 20% of the time. They make it safer for police, they make it safer for the victims, and they make it safer for the community to put dangerous felons in custody without having to use force. So with that, again, I want to congratulate Officer Riveron, and we have a little demonstration, if we may, Mayor. So I bring up to the podium Sergeant Jackson Polias. Jackson.
I never said yes, Chief. Chief, I never said. Chief, I never said yes. Go ahead.
Good evening, Commission. Thank you for having us. So this is K9 Radar. K9 Radar is dual certified. He's certified in patrol work by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and he's also certified by FLECA for podium speaking. No.
He moving our furniture.
Wait. He's also certified by FLECA for locating firearms, ammunition, spent shell casings. So one of the ways that we've implemented them recently is with the new ShotSpotter program. Anytime there's a ShotSpotter alert, him and I, will respond to the scene. If we can't find it, we'll deploy him, and he has the capability of finding the shell casings that were shot out of that gun. Once those shell casings are found, we're able to impound them, send them to the lab, and match them to any guns that may have been used in crimes. This is a way that we're using the dog to, connect crimes and solve crimes in Opa-locka. Aside from that, he works with me in the car. Every time I'm at work, he's at work with me. We handle two-man calls together. So a call that I would normally seats, wait, down. A call that we would normally go to with two officers, he takes that second officer position. So, if the officers are tied up, he acts as the second officer. I've got a button here on my shoulder that if I need him, I can press it twice and it'll open my door. My car's equipped with a system that'll allow my door to open, and he'll jump out of the car and he will run straight to me to help me. He's an incredibly smart dog. Instinctive, if I come out of the car and I'm talking to just like I'm talking to you guys, he's completely calm. He goes right back to sleep, right? If he sees that I'm a little scared, if I'm in fear, if I'm feeling, I'm dealing with a bad guy, and for whatever reason the little hairs on my neck are standing up, he's also feeling me, and he's now in the car barking, and he wants to come help me. That's something you can't teach the dog. This is just the dog's natural ability. He's trained in aside from the ammunition and the spent shell casings, which is black powder and smokeless powder. That's what he can find when it comes to finding humans that are missing or that run away from the police. He's trained on how to detect the skin cells that fall off of us every single second that we're alive. So to give you an example, if a crime is committed in Opa-locka or in any of the neighboring cities, and it meets the criteria for a canine deployment, meaning it was an aggravated battery, it was a crime against a person with a weapon, somebody that really poses a threat to our community. If we don't capture them, then he can be deployed, right? So he's not deployed for anything other than something violent and something that would merit his deployment. He can then find the person that's in hiding by smelling the scent that we let off, the dead skin cells, 1,000 times better than we can. So he loves our police chief. Yeah. So I'm gonna step out of the room. Right out here. Seats. His name is Radar, by the way. Yeah, that's K9 Radar. I'm gonna step out of the room. He's gonna hide something in the room, and then we're gonna show you how he can find the magazine or What's that? No, I'm gonna do it on leash. I definitely do it on leash.
Oh, exactly.
All right. So I'm gonna exit the room. I'll exit this way. All right.
I'm just trying to, oh, shoot, he got us.
So as you can see, When a lot of times that when we're looking for suspects, they drop firearms, and to recover the firearm is very important. It's evidentiary. It could have been used in the commission of a felony, could have been used in the commission of a homicide. So for a canine officer to be able to locate a weapon is critically important to the police department. So we're going to show you, hope it works, but we're going to show you the intensive training and how important it is.
Under Mayor Taylor's, he said,
The devil is.
under his desk, he just told me in my ear. you didn't hear me. Okay. He said,
We're gonna do that. Very simple item, because it's a simple room, and we have all these people here. The dog, it's not gonna bite anybody, but it might scratch someone. I think a good place would be somewhere here, and then you'll,
by the manager.
and you'll learn,
By the manager.
By the
is a great
manager.
place. Right by the manager. is a great-
That's a-
That's too easy. The dog was just at the post.
Exactly.
Go over there. Umi can do it too, though, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
Jamaica, leave. Exactly. One of our residents got something back now.
Yeah, he is nibbling. You see him nibble on King? He's nibbling on Mr. King back there. I don't know.
Tell me y'all got that on camera. Tell me y'all got that on camera. Yeah, you can go back to basic training.
I think he's scared of me.
The manager got it. He tearing up the furniture.
Where's Umi?
The management picked it up and took it.
Where's Miss Russell dog? I can't remember. It's too many.
And then I picked it up. Nobody tell me. to pick it up.
Where's Umi? Where's Umi? He'd have found it by now. Umi would have found that.
Thank you, chief. I do, me and Vice Mayor was talking about his obedience. So we're gonna send our children to your basic training. Because if you can teach my kids to sit and wait, Vice Mayor said Commissioner Williams said she said to her kids too. We can have an Opa-locka basic training for kids. But we appreciate and we welcome our K-9 unit, our new officer, to our Opa-locka family. Welcome to the family. Thank you, Police Department, for a job well done, keeping our streets safe. So, Mr. Manager, is that?
This concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any board reports?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so no board reports. Mayor and commission reports. We'll start from. Okay, we'll start from. She said we can't start it, so we'll start from right to left this time. Commissioner Kelly, you have a board, bring your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You went kind of fast on the manager's report, but
You want to go back?
no, I'll just address it through my report. As you can see on the item, I will be bringing back, as we all know by now, she passed a few days ago, former Vice Mayor and Commissioner Dorothy Johnson, who also served as interim mayor for a brief time as well. So I wanted to put that on there. I spoke to the manager already. I understand there's a process, but I want to just publicly say that. And of course, we all keeping her family in our prayers. I did have a couple of things for the manager, Mr. Mayor, because it keeps coming up, and I'm very concerned. A lot of times when I put things in emails, the length of time that it takes to get responses. So I want to put them on the record tonight. The first floor of this building in Town Center, we maintain the whole building, I guess, because we own it. I've got some concerns from residents who've used the facilities down on the first floor, not cleaning. The cleaning folks are cleaning, but apparently some of the fixtures and some of the doors and things like that are not as they should be. So we need to take a look at that since it is our building and address those issues that are maintenance related. I also want to bring up, because I mentioned in the briefing to my colleagues as well, I'm concerned about not only with the parking lot challenges, but I had mentioned to the manager in one of the briefings, I do not want us to get to the point where we're opening the first floor downstairs for the police department and don't have an area to address their parking when they move down there. So I would hope that is something on the front radar, and that the manager will bring back some options or whatever, how we're going to address that parking, because I said before, the police need to have designated parking for those vehicles when they're coming in, going out, et cetera. And I know there's been some challenges about parking spaces. And so I don't want that to linger on and we're ribbon cutting and don't have a place for those police vehicles. I heard it mentioned, because I mentioned the last meeting, about paying our bills. So I'd like to get Mr. Mayor, my colleagues, and you can get it too, because you may have it already. Mr. Manager, whatever the process we use to pay bills from the beginning to the ending, the minute we get invoice and how it's processed, how long it takes before someone gets paid, whatever the invoice may be. The last thing that I wanted to bring to the attention, because I'm not clear, it happened before I got here, so I guess I need to know what the process is for our media coverage and display, how the photographer is chosen for events, and how the PR firm selects how they put stuff on our social media platforms, the time conformity that needs to be, so that can be adhered to going forward. So if I can get those things in writing, I would appreciate it. I want to also thank the manager, and by way of police department, for their participation as always, and Meet Me Monday that we just had on couple of days ago. And also Public Works and their participation along with the other departments for our monthly feeding that we do. Both the first Wednesday at Shabandi and the third Friday feeding South Florida over at Siegel Park. So I want to just bring those up and thank you very much for that. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor, for the night.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kelly, Vice Mayor.
Good evening again. I don't have much to say tonight. However, I do want to commend our police department. A few weeks ago, there was a repass over at the Helen Miller Center of one of our residents and dealing with the youngsters and they did an awesome job. Not just, it was exceptional what our officers did, keeping the peace and even keeping the peace, but still you had to be there to see it. It was epic, I tell you. But everything, when it could have gone to the right, the police brought it back to the left. It went very well. They did an awesome job. I told them that they did an awesome job and continue to do awesome jobs in our city. I also had the privilege of attending, along with some of my colleagues, the Opa-locka football and cheer banquet maybe a couple of weeks ago. And it was a very nice event. I wish it was well attended. Everything went very nice. I do apologize for missing the bunny jam. Because yeah, I missed it. I'm so sorry, but I hear it was nice.
You was buying purses at the Louis Vuitton store in Orlando.
It was gifted. You never turn down a gift. It was gifted. It was one of the things I wanted to make sure I did. There was something else I can't remember at this time, but yes, I got it. I'm not sure about you all, but I received so many phone calls about sandbags for apartment complexes. Don't have a big problem with that, but the city of Opa-locka, I mean, in a hurricane situation, I think it's feasible, but I think that we have to work out making some of these apartment complexes responsible to some degree with their tenants. Yes, it's been raining. Everybody know it's been raining like crazy. And to call the city and want the city to give sandbags to residents that the apartment complexes already know that they have issues with flooding. I don't think that should completely fall on the backs of the city of Opa-locka. Some of these apartment owners have to take responsibility and making their residents safe as well. The calls like keep coming, don't stop. And when they stop calling, they start texting. And yes, so thank you. I did go and check on I've known flooded areas yesterday and they were pretty okay. Didn't go out today, too much rain. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Commissioner Williams.
Okay, few things. I just want to thank everyone that worked and came out and was involved with the Opa-locka Health and Wellness Fair. It was a great event. Also want to thank Rodney Baltimore, Maestro, and Mr. Irvin. I think his last name is Irvin. Barrington, thank you. No, that's not it. Chief Barton, that's it. Thank you, Barton. For the donation of food, and it was really awesome, and I can't wait to continue that initiative each year. On the 22nd of Saturday from 9 to 1, I have partnered with Juice to Find as well as the Home Depot to bring our first annual Earth Day block party. Please join us. It's going to be epic. One city block. Home Depot has in-kinded hundreds of plants, soil, mulch, everything that we need for our residents. And again, let me be clear, this is for our residents. So, and only our residents. Everyone is invited. However, our Home Depot giveaways are for our residents for beautification projects. It's spring. Let's get out. Let's work on our yards. Let's work in our yards. And that's the way that we then learn our neighbors, talk to our neighbors, and get to know everyone in our community. As you can see, Jan Avenue was popping tonight. And so I'm excited about that. Bounce houses, food trucks, music, everything you can think of. Painting with a twist with children, of course, flowers and plants, hundreds of packets of seeds. So come out. Oh, and trees as well as Home Depot gift cards that will be raffled off. So I'm excited again to partner with Juice to Find for a wellness inside and beautification project outside. Moving on, I would like Mr. Manager to just throw these things out. So today, because I've always said I go down that stretch of Alabama and between 22nd and 27th Avenue, that's my daily routine. I literally almost got stuck. Like I thought I was gonna have to call a tow truck because of the flooding on that street. So if you can imagine the monstrosity of potholes on top of the flooding, which is probably why I have a flat tire now. So something has to be done. Like that stretch of the street. So we're talking parking, flooding, potholes. I don't know what else we have to say, but we have to invest in that corridor, that strip right there. And it's just been neglected for so long. So if we can just please get that, do something. And I work with you, Mr. Manager, on that. I know we're talking about parking there, but again, I keep saying, how do our police department go from one end of the city, that is a major road, to reach 22nd Avenue and the other side of the city, and they have to go through that. And of course, and I'm saying police because that's our emergency department, but also our residents, right? So we have to do something. Also, Mr. Manager, if we can please begin to work on the code enforcement signage workshop. No one has contacted me on that. We said we were going to do a workshop on that. If someone from the manager's office, so that we can begin to work on that legislation and move the signage of our businesses along, because that's important. And a few of them reached out to me and really want to make that happen. And last but not least, I know we're, moving in and we're talking about the budget. I would like for us to look at outsourcing some of the programming in our parks department. We have to outsource, because if we don't, we have to look at some other companies that can come in and do the work that we need to get done. We can't just solely depend on our park staff to do all of the sports. There's I-9 sports. There are so many different companies that are outsourced from other cities use, that we have to look at, because I don't want to show up to a flag football game and a flag football practice that I don't even know is not even happening anymore and was never told. So that's embarrassing. And I'm a commissioner. And so I can imagine our residents going to these practices and plop, they're no more, and no one's telling us. So we have to know, like, what are we doing? What's going on? We really should try to look at outsourcing, and I just want to put that on our radar. And then to make sure that we're reaching out to the whole community. We have to reach out to the whole community when we're talking about what we're doing in our parks, all of our parks, not just, you know, a select few. That's it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. What a wonderful segue. I forgot, I mentioned it earlier, because of the bad weather and the flooding, the managers recommended, and I will go along with and agree, the cleanup schedule for this Saturday at Ingham Park, we're going to postpone for 2 weeks because of the tremendous amount of flooding and the rain that's anticipated over the next couple of days. Even though it should be sunny by Saturday, it's going to be kind of an impossibility to dry out. So we're going to postpone the Ingham Park cleanup for 2 weeks to the last Saturday in this month. And hopefully the organizations, Madam Clerk, that have contacted, we can reach out to them, let them know we're going to postpone it for 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll be drier. It's still my anticipation, still my goal to have that park open by the summer. So if it means I have to start going out there on the weekend, or me and Ms. Russell going out there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to make it happen along with all of our participatory budget folks. They'll be right out there with us to get it done. That's right, because we want to get that park open, but to the community and to the staff and everyone, Mr. Manager, we're going to postpone it for 2 weeks. And we will have it the same time frame. We will post a flyer that is postponed and reschedule, and hopefully my colleagues will be available as well to come by. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's in your hands.
Okay, so first off, we'll start off with Mr. Manager, an update on the financial oversight of the city.
Absolutely. So we had a meeting. We had a delivery actually of our financial reports. Our trial balances coming from our finance department after working with our internal audit support, Anthony Brunson team. We transferred our trial balances and some other financial reports to Markham, which is our external auditor. I've requested a meeting with them to ensure that we are on schedule for our June 30th deadline. We had a preliminary email exchange and a preliminary phone call. I do have confidence that we will still make our June 30th deadline and begin to segue into our December deadline, which again will put the city of Opa-locka on track to submit its financial reports on time for the first time in 10 years.
That is awesome news. So thank you, Mr. Manager, for your hard work for that. So additional to my report, I would like to thank the community for showing up in support for our Bunny Jam. Everybody except for Vice Mayor, who was in Orlando buying Louis Vuitton purses. So, but thank you all for the rest of you all that came out. So we shout out to McDonald's that provided the food. Shout out to Walmart, who provided the candy and the eggs, to Target, who provided some of the baskets, and Vice Mayor wanted me to say, though she was in Orlando buying purses at the Louis Vuitton store, she did provide some eggs too. So thank you for sending your eggs on Saturday, even though you was in Orlando at the Louis Vuitton store. So we thank you for that. We also want to say that, Commissioner Kelly, we heard you about the parking. We've been in conversation with the state of Florida, and they're going back and forth now. An attorney, we're going to have a meeting to finalize that contract, but they're going to allow us, the police, to utilize the enclosed parking lot right here in front of City Hall by a few spots for the police department, which will alleviate some parking spots along the side of the building and in front, in order, like you said, to have parking here at the building. So that legislation is forthcoming. So look out for that. Also, we all heard the news about Vice Mayor Johnson, and we want to say that her celebration of life is scheduled for next week. That is April 22nd at 11 a.m. at Jesus People Ministries. The address is 4055 Northwest 183rd Street, Miami Gardens, Florida. That's the celebration of life for our dearly beloved Vice Mayor Dottie Johnson, and we want to pack that place out. For we know that she was a champion for this community, so we want to send her home the right way and with love. Vice Mayor want me to announce that bingo is Friday at 6 o'clock, and she promised, she said that she'll be there. She won't be in Orlando. Her purse tour will allow her to be at bingo this week at 6 o'clock. And also, what else you want to say? Oh, I'm sorry. Happy Easter to everybody. I put some candies on the chair. That's what you want to say. Put some candies on the chair for everybody. So happy Easter to all of our residents. And we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to our board appointments. So do we have any board appointments?
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor?
I would once again like to nominate for the Community Relations, Recreation and Activities Board, Christine Banks.
Okay. Okay, so for the community relations, that's the at-large appointment. So Ms. Banks to the Community Relations Board, that is an at-large appointment. So it would need a vote for from the commission.
I'll second it, Mr. Mayor.
So the motion was made and second. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams. Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Banks, for your willingness to serve. Any other appointments for the boards at hand?
I have a question,
Uh-huh.
if that matter.
Go ahead.
To help refresh my memory, the teen and young adult, do we have a minimum age for that, Commissioner Williams?
I couldn't remember either.
Minimum like as in low
Yeah.
or max?
Well,
Both.
vote.
I think the legislation, Madam Attorney, if you can help me, does it have an age? I think it does,
It
yeah.
does.
I don't.
Your, the
Fresh-
teen legislation that you passed,
Was 16.
if I'm not mistaken, it's,
16.
yeah, you have to
Yes.
be a minimum of 16 years old.
16, yeah.
And what's the oldest?
think
I
we
believe
said
21, if I'm not
21.
mistaken. Yeah.
Okay, Madam Clerk, to Commissioner Williams' point that she brought up earlier about community engagement, this board involves, children and young people. Can we advertise this to let people know that this board exists so we can get the children engaged? So maybe we can do it through the Parks and Rec, letting them know that this board is here and so we can receive some applications to,
Yes,
set this
Mr.
board
Mayor,
up?
we'll
Okay.
go ahead and move forth with that.
all right, thank you. If all hearts and minds are clear, can we get a motion to? Commissioner Burke is back. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay.
Second. Thank you all for spending time with us on tonight. This meeting is adjourned.